आवाज को आसान जाएगी
ठीक है। हेलो, आवाज आ रही है?
यस सर।
ठीक है, ठीक है। तो today's topic is hepatocellular carcinoma. So this hepatocellular carcinoma accounts for 7% of all the cancer, 7% of all cancer, and it is the second leading cause of cancer-related death. कैंसर की वजह से जो डेथ होते हैं उनमें इसका नंबर सेकंड है, तो सेकंड मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट कॉज ऑफ कैंसर रिलेटेड डेथ. नाउ it is more common in male as compared to the female, and ratio of male to female is 2.5. It is more common in male. It occurs in old age. Average age is 65 to 70 years. But in Africans, where vertical transmission of hepatitis B is common, it occurs at earlier age, at 40 to 50 years. Now, what are the risk factors? Main risk factor is cirrhosis. So, first of all, whenever any person has cirrhosis, he is at the risk to develop hepatocellular carcinoma. Cirrhotic patients constitute about 1% of human population. In the world, 1% of population is having cirrhosis. And out of these, 1/3 will develop hepatocellular carcinoma during their life. Now what are the causes of cirrhosis? Now, cirrhosis results from infection by hepatitis B virus, hepatitis C virus, alcohol abuse, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, metabolic syndrome, hepato.
सर स्लाइड्स आर नॉट मूविंग.
जी
सर स्लाइड्स नहीं चल रही हैं, एक ही पे रुकी हुई है हेपेटोसेलुलर कार्सिनोमा के रिस्क फैक्टर्स पे. सर वही पढ़ा रहे ना, तो पीछे वाली भी तो नहीं चल रही थी.
बंद करो. So most common cause of cirrhosis are hepatitis B virus, hepatitis C virus, alcoholic abuse, metabolic syndrome, NASH, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, metabolic syndrome, hemochromatosis, and aflatoxin. That is a toxin, that is a fungus that contaminates this our grain or this peanuts, and when we eat, we can develop this hepatocellular carcinoma. Now, whenever cirrhosis is present, now what are the predictor factors which lead to the carcinoma? If patient is having cirrhosis, then there are certain predictors that can lead to the carcinoma in that cirrhotic patient. These are increased severity. That means when platelet count is less than 1 lakh per millimeter per cubic millimeter, or when there is portal hypertension, or when there is increased liver stiffness that is detected by elastography. So if these factors are present in the cirrhosis, then there are more chances to convert this cirrhosis into hepatocellular carcinoma. Now let us discuss each risk factor individually. Number one, hepatitis B virus infection is the most important risk factor. Hepatitis B infection affects 400 million people worldwide and accounts for 50% of the cases of hepatocellular carcinoma. Means 50% cases are due to hepatitis B. Ang- And among these hepatitis B virus patients, what are the predictors for development of hepatocellular carcinoma? These are, if patient is having hepatitis B virus, then if additional these factors are present, then he is prone to develop hepatocellular carcinoma. These are family history of hepatocellular carcinoma. If hepatitis B E antigen is present, then more chances of hepatocellular carcinoma. If there is more viral load, then again more chances. And if there is he belongs to genotype C, then again more chances to develop hepatocellular carcinoma. Now, vaccination of hepatitis B has reduced the incidence of this chronic hepatitis, chronic cirrhosis, as well as hepatocellular carcinoma. And if we treat hepatitis B virus infection, then we can prevent this hepatocellular carcinoma. Second most important risk factor is hepatitis C virus. Hepatitis C virus affects 170 million people worldwide, and it is responsible for 30% of cases. 30% of cases are due to hepatitis C virus. Among patients with hepatitis C virus, hepatocellular carcinoma occurs when there is liver damage. That means he has developed cirrhosis or increased fibrosis. Then that liver will be converted into hepatocellular carcinoma. This thing is in contrast to hepatitis B virus. Patients having hepatitis B virus can develop hepatocellular carcinoma without developing cirrhosis. That is difference between these two viruses. Now, antiviral therapy of hepatitis C virus can prevent this chronic as well as cirrhosis. So, in both hepatitis C and hepatitis B, antiviral therapy should be continued till the eradication of virus so that hepatocellular carcinoma can be prevented. Now, what are the gross features of hepatocellular carcinoma? This usually appears as single mass in absence of cirrhosis. If patient is not having cirrhosis, then it usually hepatocellular carcinoma usually appears as a single mass in the liver. But if there is already cirrhosis, then hepatocellular carcinoma appears as single nodule or multiple nodule in presence of the cirrhosis.
सर स्लाइड्स क्यों मूव नहीं कर रही?
Lymph node involvement can occur in hepatocellular carcinoma, while lung and bone metastases are rare. Now, clinical features of the hepatocellular carcinoma. Now, what are the clinical features? So, there are two ways of presentation. Number one, if patient is already having cirrhosis, then if he will develop deterioration of liver function with worsening of ascites, jaundice, or variceal bleeding, then we should suspect hepatocellular carcinoma. General symptoms include loss of appetite, weight loss, and abdominal pain. On examination, there is hepatomegaly or there may be right hypochondrial mass. Abdomen, abdominal or liver bruit may be present. These are what is bruit? These are extracardiac murmur. Extracardiac murmur. So liver bruit occurs because there is increased blood flow to the tumor. These are vascular tumor, increased blood flow. So there will be turbulence in the blood flow and that will cause the murmur and that extracardiac murmur is called the bruit. Second presentation is if we detect early 6 monthly, if screening is done by this ultrasound, then it can be detected at early stage and then it will be easy to treat. मौसम जो आवाज ना बहुत पीछे आवाज
सर स्लाइड्स मूव नहीं कर रही।
जी इन्वेस्टिगेशन नाउ
सर स्लाइड मूव नहीं कर रही है।
छत के पूछो क्या मूव नहीं कर रही है। स्लाइड मूव छत से स्लाइड मूव नहीं कर रही है। हाँ ठीक है बस। Now investigation. Number one investigation is alpha fetoprotein. Number two is the imaging. Third is the liver biopsy. Fourth is the screening. Number one is the alpha fetoprotein. Now there are false positive and false negative. False negative means patient is having hepatocellular carcinoma, but alpha fetoprotein is normal. That usually occurs in small tumor, small nodules in early stage. So you may find normal alpha fetoprotein. But alpha fetoprotein also occurs in chronic hepatitis B, chronic hepatitis C, or even normal pregnancy, or yolk sac tumor, or hepatic necrosis, for example, peristomal poisoning. In these conditions, alpha fetoprotein is increased. So, normal level is less than 10 nanogram per deciliter, and it is significant when level is more than 400 nanogram per deciliter. Second investigation is imaging. Ultrasound is it is non-invasive investigation and it can detect as small as 2 to 3 centimeter nodules. Ultrasound also shows involvement of portal vein. So it is a part of screening program. Means if patient is having cirrhosis or if patient is having hepatitis B, then 6 monthly alpha fetoprotein and ultrasounds are advised so that hepatocellular carcinoma can be detected at early stage when it is small nodule and then it is easy to treat. For example, it can be easily resected, removed by surgery. Third investigation is CT scanning. That special multi-detector CT with contrast is used. That shows hypervascularity of tumor. MRI is also used in place of CT, but that is more expensive. Third investigation is liver biopsy. So it is a liver biopsy. There are risks of liver biopsy because there is seeding of this tumor cell through this needle tray in 2% cases. So liver biopsy is not done in every case. It is done when hepatocellular carcinoma is suspected in a patient who is not having cirrhosis, or when there are atypical findings in the CT scanning, or to diagnose the secondaries, metastasis in the liver, to confirm. Then suppose there is tumor in the liver, but that is metastasis, that has come from other organ, for example from bone. Then liver biopsy will confirm whether it is primary or secondary tumor. Now these are various investigation. Now management. There are before treatment is started, functional status of the patient is assessed, then child's pubes criteria, these are applied, and this patient is divided into various groups A, B, C. And third point to consider is whether patient is having this cirrhosis or not. Fourth point, if portal vein is involved or not, because if portal vein is involved, that is indicate advanced disease. Various options of treatments are: number one, hepatic resection; number two, hepatic transplantation; third is the percutaneous ethanol injection; fourth is the TACEs, means trans-arterial chemoembolization; number five is sorafenib. Now, hepatic resection. It is usually done when the small nodule 2 centimeter, less than 2 centimeter is present, liver function is normal, portal pressure is normal, then it is removed. It is only possible when this detected early stage, when size is very small. Then hepatic transplantation is also done nowadays. It's available in Pakistan facilities when there are special indication of hepatic transplantation, and hepatocellular carcinoma is also one indication. Third option is percutaneous ethanol. Ethanol injection is injected percutaneously, that causes necrosis of this hepatocellular carcinoma. Fourth, another option is TACEs, means trans-arterial chemoembolization. In this, doxorubicin or cisplatin, these are chemotherapy agents, these are injected. Then systemic, when it is sprayed, then sorafenib, this drug that is that acts systematically, that is very expensive, that is used. If patient is already in C grade, means decompensated, and there is portal vein involvement, then only supportive therapy is indicated. कंटिन्यू करा ना 15 मिनट कंटिन्यू करा बस करा ना अन्य में टॉपिक भी 9:30 था यार ठीक है. The second topic is non-alcoholic fatty liver. So it includes three disease. These are the number one, fatty infiltration, that is called the steatosis. Number is the NASH, that is called the non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, and third is the cirrhosis. So these occurs in stage wise. Early stage there will be fatty infiltration, then there will be NASH, then there will be cirrhosis. Now, what are the causes of this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? Most important cause is metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome includes obesity. The most important cause is the metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome includes obesity, dyslipidemia, insulin resistance, diabetes, and hypertension. So this non-alcoholic fatty liver is a liver manifestation of metabolic syndrome. Now, what are the what we will discuss? Yeah, I want to explain these things. Number one is the fatty infiltration. That means steatosis. On microscopy, you will find this liver cells are filled with fat, and nucleus is displaced, and liver cells are filled with the fat. Then is the NASH, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. In this, you will find there will be ballooning of the liver cells. Number two, there will be degeneration of the cells. And third, there will be inflammation. That means inflammatory cells, polymorph, this lymphocytes, and this macrophage will occur. Finally, there will be fibrosis, and that will lead to the cirrhosis. So this fatty liver is also one cause of cirrhosis, and cirrhosis can lead to the hepatocellular carcinoma. So if patient is having cirrhosis but hepatitis B is negative, hepatitis C is negative, that is usually labeled as cryptogenic cirrhosis. So most important cause in that category is non-alcoholic fatty liver. Now, what are the clinical features? Patient usually present with fatigue or right upper quadrant pain. Now, what are the investigation of this non-alcoholic fatty liver? ALT means it's SGPT usually raised, AST is raised, and ratio of AST to ALT is less. That means ALT is increased as compared to the AST. But if AST means SCOT is more than SGPT, that indicates conversion of fatty liver into the cirrhosis. That is important investigation. Fatty liver, then non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, then cirrhosis. So by investigation, you can know the stage of the disease. If fatty liver has changed in cirrhosis, then AST ratio of AST to ALT is more than 1. Next investigation is GGT, gamma glutamyl transferase, serum ferritin also raised, GGT is also raised. And important imaging means ultrasound can detect this fatty liver. It will be bright, means the ecogensity will be increased, it will look bright liver. So liver biopsy is a conformity, is a gold standard for the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It can show fatty liver only, steatosis. It can show NASH. It can show the fibrosis. So we already discussed in the NASH, there will be steatosis. Number two, there will be injury, liver cell will be degenerated, and there will be inflammation. There will be polymorph and other inflammatory cells accumulation around these cells, liver cells. Now, what is the management? Management, most important management is weight loss. Weight loss by any way, dietary manipulation or exercise, that is the most important treatment for the fatty liver. Then statin are also recommended, especially dyslipidemia when fats are increased, especially bezafibrate. So that is all.
सेव करेगा कंप्लीट किया।